should have remembered.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Partners in Crime. I'm Shawna.
And I'm Annie.
And this week's episode is a bit of a late edition, still season 2. But Annie and I were just kind of rewatching this episode called Context, and it had not been in my top 10 initially, but I liked it so much, I thought, you know what, I'm going to switch out one of the later episodes and slot in Context.
So what did we switch it out for?
Shibboleth, which is, I believe, maybe a season 5 episode. So yes, this podcast is very season 2 heavy, but I mean...
But hey, it's not our fault it's such a good season.
That's right. Yeah. So Context, and so what happens in this episode?
It's very... I knew from a young age that I was obsessed with cults.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a cult.
No, but
Not
they're
really.
very fascinating.
But they're very interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of one of the ones about cults.
Yeah.
About a cult. But it's not like
a religious
a
cult.
practical cult. It's kind of it's different.
Yeah. So what happens?
So how many people get murdered? 2?
Well, initially
find 2.
a father and son.
They find 2, and Goran is immediately like, oh, these people have been dehydrated for like a good while before they died. And so they say, what, 12 days?
2 weeks. So basically, the dad is kind of a well-known criminal, and I think there's been a warrant out for his arrest, so he's been avoiding New York. But for some reason, he comes to New York, and him and his son are found in his office, dead. In the opening scene, Goran's just doing his classic moves. He's like throwing off his shoes for someone to catch, because he wants to get up really close to the dad and like touch his eyeball. Basically, it's super gross. Because like, yeah, that's a sign of dehydration, that like the eyes are very red and irritated and dried out.
And then the cuticles are cracked too.
Yeah.
So that's another
yeah, so they're
sign.
found in the office, and somehow the trail leads to a motel room.
Right.
In Montauk.
Right. How do they figure that out?
Yeah, I forget how the trail leads there.
But anyways, they figure out that these people were probably kept in this hotel until they died.
And what is kind of unusual about the hotel when they get there? Like, what did they notice?
I don't know. I just noticed the, like, horrible floors.
Yeah, Annie right away does not like the aesthetics of this motel room.
It's like, are we in a 50s restaurant? What's going on here? Checkered floors in a green and blue room. Keep in mind.
It's just a cheap kind of resort motel, but they notice it's very, very clean. And so the owner is like, yeah, we like keep things tidy, but it's like really clean.
Yeah, like there's no fingerprints, no dust anywhere.
And then Goran goes into the bathroom and he's like, when did you replace the shower door? And he's like, we didn't. So then that's how they figure it out, because actually when they find the bodies in the office, there's like frosted glass.
Right, that's right.
Embedded into some of the cuts. And so then they figure out, oh, they were kept in here. There's like a tub and then the sliding shower doors. The shower door must have broken and they replaced it. So this is where they were actually held. And then Eames says...
2 men in a tub.
2 men in a tub.
So what is that a reference to? The 3 men in the tub? Like the candle...
I don't know.
The something, the baker, the candlestick maker?
Yeah, there is something.
Is that like what
she's... Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows when it seems?
I think they're both just kind of like, wow, can you imagine? Like, what a bad way to die. To just sort of be so prolonged.
Right, and there's duct tape that they found. Duct tape residue on their hands and their ankles, so they would just be stuck there for like 12 days, nothing to eat, nothing to... It's horrible.
And
it's disgusting.
The son was married and had a child, and so they end up figuring out the password to his voicemail, which is his son's birthday, and there's all these messages from his wife. So they go to talk to her, and like she's camped out in the living room, like scared, because obviously she knows like something bad has happened to her husband and his dad. And it turns out what happened was the dad was trying to hide this money. So he's got two sons. They're actually stepbrothers. So the son that was killed, and then another son who's really just a screw up, Doug Morgan. And so the dad opened all these accounts in Doug's name to hide the money. And somehow this Doug figured it out, emptied all of the accounts. And then that's why the dad came back to New York to figure out, you know, because it was like, I think over $2 million.
Right. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. So then the trail leads, they're looking for this Doug Morgan, and they have an address for his mother.
Oh, no.
So they go to visit her, and what is her deal?
Oh, what isn't her deal? She's so strange.
Yeah.
So, like, I think you can see where this is going. But she's quite a character.
She's quite a character.
She, you know, they come in. And Goran has, like, very big problems with, like, normal boundaries and stuff. And so she doesn't want him, or I guess them, walking in with their shoes on.
Yeah.
Onto her carpet or something. And she has these, like, shoe covers from the hospital, but there's only 3 of them, which is not very helpful.
Yeah.
Like, why even have the one if...
Yeah, exactly.
So...
yeah, so
Goran is, like, immediately like, oh, I love this woman, right? He's just, like, so...
There's just so
intrigued.
much to figure out.
Yeah. And then he even pours her some, like, alcohol, and Eames has a reaction from that. And why does he do that?
I think he can figure out she's a little bit tipsy, and so probably the way to her heart is pouring her a drink and to get her to talk, because she's a little bit confrontational at the beginning, right? Because like Goran's like, oh, this is a small place, you know, when your son lived with you, like, where did he sleep? And she's like, on the couch, you know, just very but then the mood shifts when he pours her this drink, and he's looking at the bottle and he's like, oh, $73, like, that's kind of expensive, unless it's Canadian dollars, because the dad had actually come from Montreal, we learn. So then he's like, oh, like, did the dad, I can't think of his name right now, bring this? And she's like, no, like, I wouldn't be in the same room with that guy. But it was the son that brought her the alcohol to try to figure out where Doug was. And really, basically, Goran's following the same playbook. And so she doesn't want to talk to them. They tell her that, you know, her ex-husband is dead. She has a very dramatic reaction to that. And then she's like, well, Doug had nothing to do with it. And then, you know, Eames is like, very cleverly, well, actually, like, you know, he left behind a lot of money. And then she's like, clean money?
Yeah, she's just
that
like...
could go to Dougie? And she's like, maybe, if we can find him. So then she digs out this letter, and there's a picture.
And there's, like, birdseed or something?
Yeah,
or
so
pigeon
there's
coop.
a pigeon coop in the background, so appearing, like, across the street. So then Goran's like, oh, birdseed, like, we'll just go to the neighborhood, because they know what neighborhood it is, and we'll figure out where this pigeon coop is and find him. And so they do, and they arrest him.
Just in, like, record time, too.
And then what happens when they try to question this Doug Morgan?
He just immediately well, at first he's a little, quiet, right? He's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah,
but then...
probably his lawyer, who actually gets a name, like, rarely.
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper, has told him to just be quiet.
They never say his name. It's just the subtitles
No,
that say
they
that.
do at one point.
Oh.
Carver says Mr. Cooper.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
anyway.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel an affinity for this lawyer, because it's like a common theme of CI. It's just a bad day for the lawyer. And so he tells his client to be quiet, but then he's really, like, making all these facial expressions.
Yes, and so his own performance is something we'll have to bring up in a little while.
It's really something. It's a little over the top.
We don't know if it's weird and bad or weird and good.
Yeah, although, I mean, this episode did make my top 10, so... So Goran is like, it looks like your client has something he wants to tell us.
And he really treats him like he's a child. Like, there's some... I don't know if that's how they wrote the character,
Right.
or if that was, like, the actor's choice.
There's the bird. Wouldn't be a podcast without an interruption from the bird clock. But in any event, yeah, this Doug is kind of acts like very childish.
Yes, and I don't really like that, you know? I feel like that wasn't planned.
Well, because it sort of is like, how does this guy even get through life to, like, have his own apartment and live independently? Like, if he's so naive
Yeah.
and, you know, childlike, and like, does he have some sort of mental disability or
And they
what?
don't really
Like,
come back to that.
No, they
so
don't.
it's just kind of, what are we supposed to do with this? you
I
know?
think we're just like, I think the character was written to be very naive, dumb, you know, easily manipulated. But he takes it a little bit further. To the point where I kind of wonder if, like, he'd even be considered competent, like, by a court. But anyway. So then he pretty much just comes out with it.
Yeah, he just says, I murdered them. And then Deakins is like, of course. And we see him before he's, like, checking his watch. And, you know, we love you, Deakins. But
Deakins is just like, works for me. Like, better get Carver down here. But then in the meantime, like, Goran's sort of like, some of the stuff that Doug was saying, like, I had to transform my context. Goran's like, okay, what is this guy talking about? You know, and then he's reading the letter to the mother, and it seems to follow this pattern of, like, apologizing, thanking her, you know, a plan for the future. Goran's like, yeah, there's something more going on here. Like, this weirdo, like, didn't come up with all this. So,
and then Carver says a famous line. It's gobbledygook.
yeah, it's gobbledygook. So they're trying to figure out, but where did it come from? So then Goran, you know, Eames is at her computer because she does all the driving and all of the searching on the computer. And so he's like, yeah, do a keyword search for context transformation, you know, $400. Because they notice also from his bank statements that there's, like, a regular withdrawal of $400, like, or I think it's $450, but
Every month.
yeah. So anyways, Eames finds it.
Of course she does. Like,
It's called Grace Note, and it's all about optimizing your psychic drive, and they have seminars, I think, like, every weeknight or something, some crazy thing like that.
do you not have a job?
Well, that is his job, I guess. So then Eames is like, want to take a psychic drive or something like that. And then what happens?
And then they go undercover there because they're trying to find this woman, right? Because...
Okay. Yeah, so let's back up a little bit.
No. It's fine. We can just explain it
go ahead.
easily. This guy, you know, he keeps looking up, and that's what Manson's women did. So then they figure out that he is trying to remember something or someone.
Yeah, he's picturing
They're
someone.
looking at the footage from when he goes to this, what, bank?
The bank.
Yeah, the
to,
bank.
like, empty the account.
And he's always looking at someone, and then they turn to the next camera, and it's this woman. They're trying to find the woman, and when she goes on the website, there's a photo of her with the main guy or something.
Well,
Like
she's
a
at,
teacher.
like, the, you know, whiteboard. Yeah, so they're like, okay, let's try to find
Yeah.
her and check out what's going on.
So, long story short, they get there, they're pretending to be, like, this couple waiting for this woman. They don't even know her name.
But it's
And-
a bit short notice because they're still just in their regular work clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and what we love about the undercover scenes is that they're usually wearing different clothes and, like, kind of have this whole act going. But they didn't really have enough time, so they just show up in their regular work clothes.
Mm-hmm. And so then they get this, like, very helpful woman, Peggy, to search up on her computer, like, the website, because they're like, oh, that's the woman. And then what does she say? She says, like, she doesn't know her or something.
Yeah, but it's, like, a nice little act between them, you know, because once again, they're clearly, like, married. And, you know, they're kind of arguing, like, well, I don't see
There
her
is a lot
anywhere.
of arguing in this episode.
And then Eames is like, we don't know that, honey. Like, so then this Peggy is like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then Goran's like, maybe someone in charge, because then this man appears.
Right.
And everybody's kind of flocking around him, so he's obviously
in charge.
And like the speaker. So then Gordon's like, who's that? And then Peggy is like, well, that's Randall Fuller. He's the founder of Grace Note.
So just, obviously they have to go harass this man.
Yeah.
And they're like, have you seen this woman? Blah, blah, blah. And then he starts kind of looking them up and down. And then Gordon gets very distracted and he can't finish his sentence. And he's like, oh, you made us, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then
what gave us away?
This guy found out that they're undercover, which is highly irregular.
What was it that gave them away?
It was that her sleeve was rubbed from
was shiny.
Yeah,
from rubbing against her holster.
And then his belt was scratched from where his badge usually is.
And this I object to a little bit, that Ames is wearing sensible shoes, which is sort of like, whatever. Women are allowed to wear sensible shoes, okay? We're expected to wear high heels all the time, or we're undercover cops? No. But he does. He sees through them.
And then they, still decide to go to the thing.
Well, I think Warren is a little bit intrigued.
Yeah, I think he's, mad,
Because then, Gordon's like, oh, you made us. And he said, reading people is part of what I do.
No, wrong.
So he thinks he's the master at reading people.
Little did he know. And so, of course, what do? They sit through this 4-hour seminar.
Yeah. And so then they're in Carver's office kind of giving a report.
This is so good.
Yeah. And what happens?
They just start fighting.
It's actually a pretty escalating.
It is. And I don't know if it was that serious or if they were just
They really do seem to be disagreeing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of getting mad. And so what's the disagreement about?
Carver asks, is it a cult? And then at the exact same time, Eames says no, Gordon says yes. And then they just have it out. They're just so mad.
And I'm not really sure why Eames is getting so worked up about it. She's like, those people were free to leave at any time. They were there of their own choosing. If it, makes them feel better, what's the harm?
Mm-hmm. But it was a heated argument, and Carver is so regretting that he has.
He's kind of okay, bottom line, whether it's a cult or mind control or not, could it have influenced Doug Morgan? And so then Goran, being he's really good at trying to, get along with Eames, right? And protective of the relationship. So he kind of extends an olive branch and he says to her, look, when you strip down all the double talk, what is really the message? And, Eames is everything is wrong. But it's not your fault. You were programmed that way. And so they figure out, yes, definitely it could have influenced Doug Morgan, and maybe they're actually what's behind it, right? Because they've already got Doug Morgan nailed down, with this confession, but, Goran and Eames always want full justice. Mm-hmm. And they're look, if someone put him up to it, they have to be held to account as well. And so then the story kind of turns to this woman that we mentioned, this Lena Caruso is her name. And they ask Randall Fuller about her. And he's yeah, I don't know, probably a student volunteer. I don't know who she is.
Liar, liar,
So
liar.
now this has exposed Lena to risk because the police are asking questions about her. So we see her get picked up in front of her building. And then what's the next thing that happens?
She's in the morgue. She's dead.
And the same telltale signs.
Right, except this time she committed suicide. She slit her wrist.
Because she knows what was happening to her, which would be even worse, right? And so then...
Well, I mean, you would want to just end it now.
What's the point of, waiting 2 weeks to slowly die? So Eames calls it the Grace Note suicide diet.
Oh, come on, you're stealing all my one-liner moments.
But that's what they do. And there's this blonde kind of, I don't know, security guy, and he's obviously the one that does it, right? And so she was held somewhere, and then, kind of prematurely ended it by killing herself, which is really too bad because now they can't get any information from this Lena Caruso. So now they've got to try to go back to Doug Morgan And they're like, okay, look, like we know about Randall Fuller, we know about Lena. They actually talk to somebody else too, because Carver's like, well, there must have been a complaint somewhere, like check with Consumer Affairs, which leads them to this dentist. And he explains, oh yeah, like I got totally sucked in, went to a seminar with my wife. She wasn't into it, but I started going every night, started like giving all this money.
But like it is so much money, and it's like just some like
gobbledygook. But it gives people a sense of purpose and explains sort of what is wrong with their lives or what they feel like they can't control, right? So it's a very seductive message, as Goran says. But it turns out that this Lena also seduced this dentist into giving all this money until he kind of figured out he was being duped. But then by that time now, Lena's dead. So they go back to Doug. They're like, Lena's dead. She committed suicide. Like, Randall Fuller put you up to this. Just tell us. And what's his reaction?
I don't remember.
This is where he really...
Oh, right. He just has a major freak out. He's like, no, it's how you see it. Like,
yeah,
blah, blah,
it's
blah.
not true. It's just a story you tell yourself. It's how you see it. I'm not listening anymore. And then does this really childish thing of, like, closing his eyes and...
Like, I kind of can't stand it.
It's a little cringy, actually. So they take him away. And so then now they can't get him to talk. And then Carver says to Goran...
Right. He says that a mind even you can't unlock.
Which is like, I don't know about
but
that.
But Goran forgives him. He's like, let's what?
Find someone who can. So they go back to Randall Fuller. And this is another really great scene. Because they're like...
Just so much arguing in this one.
And fake outs, right? They've got these papers and they're like, look... Because this $2 million donation was like the proceeds of illegal activity, it's being seized under the RICO Act. I'm sure that the DA can work out a repayment schedule. So Randall Fuller's like, no, like I want that $2 million. So he's like, well, we're innocent victims here. Like, so then Goran's like, look, at this point, I don't even really care about the money. Like, Mr. Morgan's not making a lot of sense. I don't want him skipping out
he's not gonna
on an insanity plea. Maybe you could just like talk to him. Like maybe you could just see for yourself, try to get him to make some sense. And then this is like another one of our favorite things when like Goran and Eames are just kind of acting. They're like acting out a little play and so in this episode we have like a real dispute, a real fight, and then a fake one where Eames is like, you can't promise that, and...
Man, you're just stealing all my one-liners. Just stealing them all.
So they convince this Randall Fuller, just make a good faith effort to talk to him, and we can work out a deal that you keep the money, but we just want him to make enough sense that the confession is going to hold up in court. So he's kind of at a crossroads. He's like, what do I do? But he's greedy. And then also Goran is sort of flattering him. It's like, so he's playing on two things, his greed for this $2 million and flattery of like, oh, maybe you can get through to him. Right. You're so good at reading people. And so he agrees. And it's one of just another classic Sting setup. And so what happens when he tries to talk to Doug Morgan?
Oh, it's just like so strange because, they're asking him such easy questions, but he has to say like these weird like mottos sort of.
Yeah, like Eames is like, how did you find out about the money? And then Randall Fuller's like, what's the hidden context?
Like translating it almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's really strange.
And so then Doug is like, I'm not competent. So it kind of goes through step by step that he ends up fully confessing and explaining all of the details. And then, but it's all through sort of the language of this cult, right? Like, so Goran is just feeding right into it. He's like, and so you transformed your life by killing your dad and your brother. And in doing that, you, got free from the past. And then Doug Morgan's like, yeah. And so then Randall Fuller's sitting there a little bit confused, like, why is Goran being so positive about this and, like, so excited about it? But it's all a setup, because then Gordon's like, well, sounds to me like you hit the Grace Note trifecta. Like, wow, you're a success story. Look at you. And then, like, Randall Fuller's becoming increasingly uncomfortable. But then Gordon's got to push it even further. And
of course
he's
he
like,
does.
so are you going to put him in your promotional materials and, like, set him up as a shining example of what Grace Note can do? And, like, Randall Fuller is just like, what is going on? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I don't know about that. And then Gordon's like, what do you mean? Like, and he's like, well, Gordon's like, murder isn't the right path? And Randall Fuller's like, no, I would hope people would find a different path. And so now Doug's starting to get mad.
He's like, what? This is...
And so then...
all that I've worked for, right?
Yeah, and I did what you told me to do. So then Gordon's just pushing all the buttons, and he's like, oh, did you hear that, Doug? You failed. You failed it. Like, you're just the same hopeless loser you always were.
It's like, yeah, it's very entertaining. It's fun to watch.
So then Doug breaks, and he's like, you told me to do it. Like, you told me to kill them.
And that's
you
all
told
they
me to
need.
get the
That's all
money.
they need. And now...
Well, and then Gordon's like, and then you killed Lena Caruso. And then Doug's like, did you? Did you? Because he actually thought that Lena was in love with him. And then Randall Fuller says, no, she committed suicide. And then Carver's like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, she knew someone at Grace Note. They must have told me. And then Eames is like, nope, the only people we told were her parents, and we didn't actually tell them how she died. So they arrest him. And then this Doug Morgan is like, what did you do to my life? And then he says it wasn't much of a life to begin with.
Well, he's not wrong. But you know what it reminds me of, though? It reminds me of that Sherlock Holmes episode, like with the guy, the redhead.
The Redheaded League? Yeah.
Because he's so stupid and he's just doing this stuff.
Yeah, he's real dumb. So there we have it. That's the episode. Kind of took us a long time to go through it, but it is a bit complicated with just all of those moving parts. And so now to move into our segments, this is really a tough one for the overacting Emmy. Because
so I handled the Emmys, right? And
yes.
I can't come to a conclusion between the mom and her son.
Yeah.
Because let's just talk about his performance for a little while. We
Sure.
talked about hers.
Yeah.
It's very eccentric and she made the most of her small role.
And the mom is actually Karen Black, who was like in a lot of movies in the 70s, pretty famous. But yeah, tour de force overacting performance.
And so, but that's what we want, right? That's the level of overacting that we want.
I think that's true. If we want to point to an example of what we want to see, for the award of the overacting,
it would be
Emmy.
like that lady from Erica and her,
and
right?
her.
That's what we want.
Yes.
He takes it a little too far.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not the main character. This is probably not how they wrote the role. Right?
Yeah, and it's just
yes,
sort
he's
of
supposed to be stupid, but he's not supposed to be like a child.
Yeah. I mean, it's entertaining.
Sure, but it's also very cringy and also just kind of like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And especially when you don't know if that was like planned or if that was just the actor's choice, it's just kind of like...
Yeah, it's true. It's a little bit much. So it sounds like you're leaning towards...
Yes, but because it was just such an it was like double overacting, I can't really make a final decision, so we'll just leave it at that, I guess.
Okay.
It's a tie.
Well, I mean, it's a tie. Although maybe you want to penalize the Doug Morgan actor for overdoing it.
Maybe.
But yeah, like some really... I forget who directed this episode, but a lot of overacting, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what is your Goran moment?
Sorry, I think we have the same one. Well, obviously, just when they go undercover, like, why are they doing that? Why? No one asked them to. It would be a lot easier if they just pretended to be cops.
Yeah.
But, definitely when they're in Carver's room, is it? Yeah, and... the guy Doug is standing in. Well,
and Goran, makes him stand up for some reason. And he's, showing him the pamphlet, and he's like, look, you hit the trifecta, you did all the things on the brochure.
He's so strange. But then
so they're standing next to each other.
Right, but then the guy's across the table and he's like, leaning over, trying to get in his face, but he like does this weird like dive and he like pushes him over.
Yeah, he actually ends up like bumping Doug Morgan right out of the way.
So I mean, what could be more Goran?
What could be more Goran?
And lots of Goran leans in this one, like the neck thing.
The neck thing, very much. And it's kind of interesting because last week we were talking about the discovery, like in the Pilgrim, that Goran has a treadmill. I don't know why I find that to be so.
You're just so upset that they work out or something.
No, but I've been thinking about it and I realized that Goran is like really quick in the early seasons. Like there's a lot of quick little movements, which I think just sort of shows his energy and his drive. And then when you compare that to the later seasons,
it's very sad.
He's like much more sluggish,
just so
right?
Drained.
Yeah, he doesn't have that same.
But I think we should mention that we watched Loyalty yesterday, and Shawna is very upset.
No. Oh, yeah.
That like Eames runs.
No, I don't mind that. I just feel like we were never told that before that she.
But we
runs.
know she like goes to a gym.
How?
And she says so.
Does she?
Pas de deux.
Oh, okay.
I have a good memory, and yeah, she is seen coming back from a run in Ladies' Man in season 8.
All right.
So
I mean, I guess I don't really object to it, but what I do object to is in Loyalty, again and again, Rogers is on the crime scene. She's there.
That has happened before. I'm telling you, happened before.
I need you to show me when, because I want to see Rogers in her,
it's
lab.
not fair that she's always cooped up there.
I don't think Rogers wants to like go out onto the scene. I mean, I don't understand why they changed it, but
also I made these nice bracelets for us. Yeah. It's our podcast bracelets because they have the badge numbers on them. Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's get to the rest of our segments.
So that's our Goran moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, I guess I've stolen your thunder for the Eames one-liner, but...
So I actually was just writing them down. So first of all, we have to mention that she was squeamish.
Yes. This is something we've mentioned a couple times before, and it's like a very interesting and consistent. That's what I was complaining about with the working out stuff. It's not consistent. I don't like it when in the later seasons they just drop something on us as though it's always been true. But here's something that does actually run through the show, that Eames gets a little bit squeamish when Goran is doing his thing.
Yes.
So we have a lot of that when he's like poking the eyeball.
Okay, I guess you didn't steal all of them, but so one good one is, this must be some of that father-son bonding I've heard so much about.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is when he's poking the eye and she's like having fun. And then 2 Men in a Tub. Then she says 4 hours without a bathroom break.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I'd pop a valve.
Yeah.
She's just so funny. The Grace Note suicide diet. And then, yeah.
Yeah. And then...
But then, now is my time to talk about... I made a diagram today.
Oh.
And this is my Annie's Eames representation scale. So, this is almost no Eames.
I will hold it up so they
No,
can
you
see.
won't.
Okay.
And this is Eames-centric, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think we hit the sweet spot right here because there's lots of good Eames one-liners. There's lots of, she's in it. She is, not in the back seat. Maybe here to, here, right? But overall, I'm happy.
All right.
But then I have to remind you about the Annie theorem, right? AE plus BG equals CI. No AE equals no CI.
Yeah.
So, and watch out, Pythagoras.
Yeah, so you may have noticed, although I guess not, because we're only in season 2, but in season 3 is when Eames goes on maternity leave, and so there's a brief kind of I don't know how many episodes in a row where actually Goran has a different partner. It's Bishop, And so you will note that we don't have any of those episodes on our podcast because one of our rules is it's just Goran and Eames. I can't even get her to watch.
I get very mad. I don't like Bishop.
It's not that you don't like her.
No, I don't like her.
It's just that she's not Eames. But anyway. Yes, so while we're talking about Eames, let's segue into our fashion call because I think we have some good moments for that too.
Right. So then, I guess kind of early on into the episode, Eames wears like a lot of kind of 70s style collared blouses, button-ups. And this one was, what's the right word? What's like the proper word
I
for
think
this
it's
style?
paisley. But...
Right. And it's a very nice blue one.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And then also she kind of wears, it's a callback to an earlier episode of the red blazer with the black shirt underneath. I like that look.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lots of tank tops in this episode.
And then we finish off with
like a coral
really nice
shirt, which is it's nice.
Yes. So good episode for Eames in that way too. Okay. So no art this week, right?
No,
but we had the graph, so that's good enough.
Yeah.
So actually this episode was not in Annie's top 10, but it was in mine. And so I picked it. And again, like I said, initially it didn't make the cut, but then rewatching it, I was like, yeah, so much going on here. Like Annie, I'm kind of interested in the cults. And I think it's a good showcase for Goran to sort of investigate, like, psychologically.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all he's about, right?
Yeah. So what do you find interesting about cults?
I don't know. They're just so interesting. I'm actually going to Manitoba soon. And my grandparents live right next to a small town that actually has a cult in it. Like a cult religion. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, my grandpa, like, tells me a lot about that, gives me updates on it. And I don't know why I'm so intrigued by these cults. I mean, obviously, if you've seen our other podcast, I have some issues I'm supposed to attend to. Will I?
Maybe we'll put up the Drag Me to Carmel Ridge graphic here. Well, I agree. I think I'm kind of surprised there aren't more episodes of CI involving cults because you'd think that it would just be Goran's, like, buffet, that there's so much to...
And that's the problem. There's another really good cult one, but I refuse to rewatch it because it's Bishop. She's very annoying. You know, like she's got like that high voice and she like never blinks and it's wrong. She's too tall.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Annie's like veto, I may have picked that episode. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's in season 3, but
I would quit the podcast. You'd have to do it without me.
But
we already know you can't do that.
Well, I wouldn't dare. But there's this teenage kind of cult leader named Connie who actually comes back in another episode. So obviously he was like, a pretty popular character to bring him back because it's usually only Nicole Wallace that gets accorded that status. True. And the guy from Probability, Wally Stevens. But in any event, there is just something interesting about like the psychology behind cults and how people become susceptible to them. So I like that. I like sort of the showdown between Randall Fuller and Goran and how he makes them, right? Like, and so he sort of thinks that he has the upper hand. Although I would point out, like, they weren't making their best effort. Like I said, if they were wearing different clothes, maybe it wouldn't have happened. But in the end, they con him. And he doesn't see through them, when they make this proposal to him. So I like that. Back. I like just kind of the way the tables turn. And just the overacting. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just like jackpot.
Yeah. And a great dynamic between Goran and Eames. You have their little argument, and then they make up. You've got their, like, fake argument, like, staged argument, which I always love.
But I think the reason we love that so much is because, like, they obviously had to rehearse it and, like, plan it out. And I like that do that because they don't have to. They definitely don't have to.
Yeah, and you can just sort of imagine them driving there and kind of working out the plan and, you know, who's going to say what and how it's all going to unfold. And that's why they're such great partners, really. Like, they just work so well together. So that's context. Another Goran moment, I guess, too, like it's the same scene, you know, where he pushes Doug Morgan out of the way, is when Goran plays dumb. Like when he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, you know, so it's very entertaining.
I would mention that there's this episode, Xenotic, and I love that one because I love when he's like being stupid like that.
Yeah.
And the perfect example is like, well, I don't get it because there's the word zoo.
And that's the thing about Goran, that
because he knows everything, but he just decides to play dumb.
That you gotta love that, you know, like he's so smart, but sometimes guys that smart, they have to always let everybody know how smart they are, and they would never appear, you know, to be less intelligent than they are.
Whereas, but Goran just does it.
Yeah.
He like is just willing to do that.
Another good example is that one with like the pilot. And Carver has him on the stand, and he keeps, you know, like, doing
that is
things
so good.
That he should definitely know better, that he can't say on the stand, and he keeps getting reprimanded. But he's just doing it to, like, you know, aggravate the suspect so that he'll blow up on the stand.
He's very humble, you know, like.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's what I appreciate in his relationship with Eames. And I think it's sort of the only reason it works because, as you frequently note, she often has to take sort of the back seat, or he's kind of the dominant one in the partnership. But he is very respectful to her and does treat her like an equal, like even though, yeah, he's kind of the, you know.
Be careful.
They are equals. But you could tell that like a different type of person would not see it that way, right? So I appreciate that about Goran. And another thing too, we just get good kind of scenes with all of our favorite characters.
Right.
You know,
Deacon's being impatient, Carver being skeptic about their stupid, far-fetched theories.
Like when they figure out that it's the son that killed his dad and his brother, like. Deakins is like, what? Like, he didn't play catch enough with this kid? Like, what's his problem? And then there's an interesting moment with Carver where he says, if someone, how does he say it? Not influenced you, but influenced you.
Right. Influenced
you. Yeah, the emphasis is on the second syllable.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But
I like but then, now I'm always going to say it like that. And like in Lost, I remember Horace says, infiltrate.
Right.
And now I just say it like that just because it's funny.
There's also an interesting scene where they're walking down the courthouse steps, but instead of just walking straight down, like
they're walking like on an angle.
Kind of, yeah. And Carver's got his like black fedora.
Of course, we almost forgot that.
And I was sort of thinking like this was probably difficult to film because they have to all step like sort of on this angle down the stairs. So anyway, lots of just little interesting things. Mm-hmm. So that's this episode, context. I don't want to end the podcast on kind of a down note, but we do actually have some bad news. A few weeks ago, we reported with great excitement that at the Calgary Expo, the one, the only Cookie Kaspari, Carabuno, how do you say it? Anyway, was going to be a guest, and we were like so excited.
And I like predicted it.
Yeah. Because we saw she was going to be in Denver, and she was going to be in all these other ones, and then the announcement came. But another announcement came a couple days ago that she has canceled. So Annie's just devastated. No Cookie Kaspari.
But
there is a silver lining.
Slightly.
Because we were also anticipating another CI.
We weren't anticipating it. No, I'm shaking in fear.
Well, so Martha Plimpton, who plays Jo, who actually like kidnaps Eames, was a cast member of the Goonies, and so she was also scheduled to appear. So then Annie was like, how am I going to handle this of like having to see Joe, but it's not counterbalanced with Cookie Kaspari. But then yesterday we discovered she has also canceled, so
it's okay.
But we're still very disappointed that there will be no one from CI at this Entertainment Expo. Yeah. But for the viewers of our previous podcast, A Lost Cause, as of today, no cancellations from the 3 lost cast members. But we'll keep you posted. But yeah, no Cookie. So she played us, I guess.
No. No, probably.
Well, she kind of did. She said she was going to be there, and she was at MegaCon in Florida.
I would just like to mention that I played Shawna the other day. I played her good.
Yes, go ahead.
So I drew this picture of like The Outsiders because
she's reading it in English.
I just finished reading it, and I was like, so strange. I drew this before watching the movie, and it looks so much like the cast, and it's just like an identical. Okay, not identical, but it looks like the cast. She's like, oh, weird.
Well, why don't you show it?
Okay, and then anyways, I said that. But then it was a complete lie. Like, I sent her the photo reference I used, and
yeah,
I'm just such a liar,
So then I say, oh, you played me, and then I got it wrong. I couldn't remember if it was like, I should have remembered all cops were bad cops, or all cops are bad cops. I should have remembered.
This is
I picked
highly
the wrong
irregular to be showing my not. So these are The Outsiders. Yes, this is Mighty Ducks, but
okay, no, you didn't show it long enough.
Okay, well, you're so mean to me.
No, I just want people to see your beautiful art. So I guess I should have known that she was playing me, but I went along with it, just being the trusting soul that I am.
Right.
And yeah,
right.
she played me. So there you have it.
And I'm very sad because I finished this sketchbook off.
Yeah, she filled it up.
I filled it up with
Meanwhile,
just beautiful art.
My little notebook here, I've got both podcasts still. My notes from A Lost Cause and Partners in Crime. So
take that.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Next week will be a much anticipated Van Gogh episode.
Oh, right.
It's called See Me. And so we hope to see you next time. I used that joke last week, but for our podcast. So thank you very much for joining us.
Bye.